My name is Rebecca Hayes, I'm 32 years old, and the woman sitting beside me at the grief support group just whispered the exact weight of the baby I lost. Down to the ounce. And I never told anyone that number. Not my husband. Not my mother. Not even my therapist. The room feels too small suddenly, the folding chairs too close together, and I can feel her eyes on me even though I'm staring straight ahead at the facilitator. "Rebecca, right?" she says softly, and her voice has this strange warmth that makes my skin crawl. "I'm so sorry for your loss. 12 weeks is such a hard time to lose them." Freeze. I told the group I lost my baby in the first trimester. I never said 12 weeks exactly. "How did you?" I start, but she just squeezes my hand and smiles, this sad, knowing smile that doesn't reach her eyes. This story contains sensitive topics including pregnancy loss and stalking. Names and some details have been changed for privacy. If you've ever felt violated during the most vulnerable time of your life, please know you're not alone. 6 months earlier I was a different person. I was a third-grade teacher in suburban Connecticut, married to David for 4 years, and we'd just seen 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test after 8 months of trying. I remember screaming in the bathroom, calling him in from the kitchen, both of us crying and laughing and holding each other. "We're going to be parents," David kept saying. "We're really going to be parents." I wanted this baby more than I'd ever wanted anything. We told our families at 8 weeks, after we heard the heartbeat. My mom cried. David's parents bought a crib the next day. I started a secret Pinterest board of nursery ideas, painted in soft yellows and greens. But at my 12-week appointment, the ultrasound tech went quiet. Too quiet. "Let me get the doctor," she said, and I knew. Somehow I already knew. The doctor confirmed it with her hand on my shoulder and her voice carefully gentle. "I'm so sorry. There's no heartbeat. These things happen, usually due to chromosomal abnormalities. It's not your fault." But it felt like my fault. It felt like my body had failed the only job that mattered. The procedure happened 2 days later at a clinic I'd never been to before. My regular OB referred me there because they had faster availability. I remember the cold room, the sympathetic nurse who held my hand, the paperwork that asked for every detail. "How many weeks? Any complications? Do you want to know the sex?" Said yes. They told me she was a girl. 4 ounces. Perfect and tiny and gone. I didn't tell David that part. Didn't tell anyone. Knowing she was a girl made it too real, gave her too much shape. I thought if I didn't say it out loud maybe it would hurt less. I was wrong. The weeks after were a blur of casseroles from neighbors who didn't know what to say and awkward silences and me lying on the couch staring at the ceiling. David tried to help, but he was grieving too, and we kept missing each other in our pain. "Maybe we should talk to someone," he said one night. "I can't," I told him. "Not yet." But then my mom found a support group for pregnancy loss that met at a community center downtown. She left the flyer on my kitchen counter, didn't push, just left it there. I stared at it for 3 days before I called. The facilitator's name was and her voice on the phone was so kind I almost cried. "You don't have to talk if you don't want to. Just come and listen. You'll see you're not alone." The group met Tuesday evenings. I went alone. David had a work thing, or maybe I didn't ask him to come. I can't remember. There were 8 other women there that first night, sitting in a circle, holding coffee in paper cups. And introduced me, and everyone nodded with these sad, understanding eyes. And then the woman next to me leaned over. She was maybe 40, with dark hair pulled back and this intense way of looking at you. "I'm Claire," she said. "Rebecca," I managed. "First time." He nodded. "It gets easier," Claire said. "The pain never goes away, but you learn to carry it." Something about the way she said it made me believe her. And started the session by inviting anyone to share. A woman across the circle talked about losing twins at 18 weeks. Another talked about her 3rd miscarriage in 2 years. Each story cracked me open a little more. When it was my turn, I kept it vague. "I lost my baby at 12 weeks. It's been 2 months. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do now." Claire reached over and took my hand. "You're doing it," she said. "You're here. That's enough." I should have felt comforted. Instead, I felt watched. After the session, Claire walked out with me to the parking lot. "Do you live nearby?" she asked. "About 20 minutes away. Fairfield." "Oh, me too," she said brightly. "What street?" I hesitated. Something felt off, but I couldn't pinpoint what. "Near the high school." "Small world," Claire said. "Well, I hope you come back next week. It really does help." I went home and told David it was fine, the group was fine, everything was fine. But that night I couldn't sleep, Claire's face swimming in my mind. The next Tuesday I almost didn't go back. But Anne had texted me a reminder. "Hope to see you tonight, Rebecca," and I didn't want to let her down. Claire was already there when I arrived, saving the seat beside her. "I was hoping you'd come," she said. We went through the same rhythm. Sharing, crying, supporting. But this time, when I mentioned the procedure, Claire's eyes sharpened. "Where did you have it done?" she asked. Riverside Women's Clinic." "Why?" "Just curious. I know that place." The way she said it made my stomach turn. After group, as we walked to our cars, Claire said, "You know, you were so brave to find out the sex. A lot of women don't want to know." I stopped walking. "I never said I found out the sex." Claire's smile faltered for just a second. "Didn't you? I thought you mentioned it." "No, I didn't." "Oh, I must have misheard," she said quickly. "My mistake." But I knew she hadn't misheard. I'd been careful not to say it. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. I started thinking back through every conversation. What had I actually told the group? What had I kept private? 12 weeks, yes. The clinic name, yes. But not the sex. Not the weight. Not those details. Just then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Hi Rebecca, it's Claire from group." And gave me your number, "Hope that's okay. Just wanted you to know I'm here if you ever need to talk. Women like us have to stick together. Women like us." Felt cold all over. How did she know about my baby girl? About the weight. I called Riverside Clinic the next morning. "Hi, this is Rebecca Hayes. I had a procedure with you in April. I'm calling because I'm concerned about my privacy. Is there any way someone could have accessed my file without authorization?" The receptionist put me on hold. When she came back, her voice was tight. "Mrs. Hayes, can you tell me more about your concern?" I explained about Claire, about the details she shouldn't know. Another long pause. "Can you describe this woman?" I did. "Dark hair, 40, intense eyes." "Please hold." This time a different voice came on. Older. "Mrs. Hayes, this is Linda Corrigan, the clinic director. I need you to tell me everything this woman said to you." My hands were shaking. "Who is she?" "Her name is Claire Novak. She was a nurse here until 6 weeks ago. We terminated her for a privacy violation. If she's been contacting you, we need to know immediately." "God. Why was she accessing my file?" I whispered. "I can't discuss personnel matters. But Mrs. Hayes, if she approaches you again, please call the police. Do not engage with her." I hung up and just sat there in my car trying to breathe. A nurse. She'd been a nurse at the clinic where I lost my baby, and she'd read my file, memorized the details of the worst day of my life, and then hunted me down at a support group. Why? I thought about calling David, but I didn't know what to say. I thought about calling the police, but what would I report? A woman was too nice to me. I decided to go to group one more time. To see what Claire wanted. To get answers. But I wasn't going unprepared. I texted my friend Jenna, a lawyer, and told her everything. She told me to record any conversations, to document everything, and to seriously consider not going. "If she's stalking you, you don't owe her a confrontation," Jenna said. But I had to know why. That Tuesday, I wore my phone in my jacket pocket, recording. When I arrived, Claire was already there, same seat, same sad smile. "Rebecca, I'm so glad you came. I wanted to apologize if I made you uncomfortable last week." "It's fine," I lied, sitting down. And started group, but I couldn't focus. My heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. Halfway through, Claire leaned over and whispered, Can we talk after? Just the two of us. He nodded. When group ended, Claire led me out to the parking lot. I want to show you something, she said, gesturing to her car. Every instinct screamed at me not to get close. I'd rather talk here, I said. Claire's expression shifted, something hard sliding behind her eyes. You called the clinic, didn't you? I took a step back. You had no right to my file. I had every right. Claire's voice rose, and a few women glanced over as they left the building. She lowered it, forced it smooth again. I had every right because what they did to you, they did to me too. Froze. What are you talking about? Riverside Clinic. They're not what you think. They made mistakes with my medications, with my treatment. I lost 3 pregnancies because of their negligence. And when I started asking questions, they fired me to cover it up. My mind was racing. So you read my file because... What? You think they hurt me too? I know they did, Claire said. Your baby didn't die from chromosomal abnormalities. I saw the pathology report. There was evidence of issues with the medication protocol. Stop. I held up my hand. If there was something wrong, they would have told me. Would they? Or would they bury it like they buried everything else? I wanted to run, but part of me, a terrible, desperate part, wondered if she was telling the truth. Why me? Yes. There must have been dozens of files. Claire's face softened. Because your baby was the same gestational age as my second loss. Same weight. And when I saw your name scheduled for group therapy. Yes, I accessed Anne's files too. I thought maybe finally I could help someone. Felt sick. You accessed the support group records. I had to find you, Rebecca. I had to warn you before they hurt anyone else. Warn me about what exactly? Just then, headlights swung across the parking lot. Police car pulled up and 2 officers got out. Claire's expression crumbled. You called them. I didn't, I said honestly. But even as I said it, I saw Jenna's car parked across the street. The officers approached. Claire Novak. We need you to come with us. There's a restraining order filed against you by Riverside Clinic, and you're in violation by contacting their former patients. Claire looked at me, and her eyes were so full of pain it almost broke me. They're lying to you, Rebecca. Please, look into it. Don't let them get away with what they did. They led her away, and I stood there shaking. Jenna came over and hugged me. Are you okay? I don't know, I whispered. What if she's right? She's not. She's a woman who's been through hell and broke under it. Don't let her drag you down too. But I couldn't let it go. The next day, I called Riverside and requested my full medical file, including the pathology report. They tried to tell me it would take 2 weeks. I'll wait, I said. When the file came, I sat at my kitchen table with David and read every page. The pathology report said exactly what the doctor had told me. Chromosomal abnormalities incompatible with life. Standard findings. Nothing about negligence. Nothing unusual. See, David said gently. That woman was sick, Beck. She was lying. I wanted to believe him. But then I saw a note at the bottom of the report, handwritten. Reviewed by C. Novak RN, see attached QA flag. QA. Quality assurance. My hands started shaking again. What's a QA flag? David scanned the pages. There was nothing attached. Maybe it's a mistake. Or maybe they removed it. I called the pathology lab directly. Hi, I'm trying to understand a note on my report. It mentions an attached QA flag, but there's nothing here. The lab tech sounded confused. Let me look. Okay, I see the note. There should be an attachment. Give me a moment. Long pause. Ma'am, it looks like that attachment was removed from your file by administrative order 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago. Right when Claire was fired. Can you tell me what it said? I'm sorry, I don't have access to deleted files. You'd need to contact the clinic's legal department. I hung up and looked at David. She was telling the truth. They removed something from my file. David's face went pale. What do we do? I thought about Claire, sitting somewhere alone, broken by her losses and disbelieved by everyone. And I thought about all the other women who might have been hurt. "We find a lawyer," I said. "And we find out what they're hiding." It took 3 weeks and legal threats to get Riverside Clinic to admit anything. Turned out, there had been a quality assurance investigation into their medication protocols. Not malpractice exactly, but a review of their dosing procedures for certain medications used during pregnancy loss procedures. Some patients, including me, had been part of that review. The QA flag was routine. The findings showed no actual harm. But Claire, in her grief and growing paranoia, had convinced herself it was proof of negligence. It wasn't. My baby had died of natural causes. Terrible, heartbreaking, random natural causes that happen to thousands of women every year. The clinic had removed the QA notes from patient files because their legal team worried they could be misinterpreted and cause unnecessary distress. They weren't trying to hide malpractice. They were trying to avoid scaring patients over a technicality. It was wrong of them to remove it without disclosure. But it wasn't a conspiracy. Claire had taken a fragment of truth and built a cathedral of delusion around it. When I learned all this, I felt so many things at once. Relief that my baby's death wasn't preventable, fury at the clinic for their lack of transparency, and a deep, aching sadness for Claire. I asked the police what would happen to her. "She's been committed for psychiatric evaluation," the officer told me. "She violated the restraining order, but given her mental state, she'll likely be diverted to treatment rather than jail." I thought about going to see her to tell her the truth, but Jenna advised against it. "She needs professional help, not closure from you. You don't owe her anything, Rebecca." So I let it go. Riverside Clinic settled quietly with several former employees and patients who'd been affected by their poor record-keeping and communication practices. They updated their policies, brought in an outside consultant, and sent letters of apology to anyone impacted. Didn't bring my baby back, but it meant something that they acknowledged their mistakes. As for me and David, we started seeing a therapist who specialized in pregnancy loss. We learned how to talk about our grief without drowning in it, how to hold space for each other's pain. "I was so scared to tell you I knew the sex," I told him one session. "I thought it would make it worse for you." "Beck," he said, crying, "she was our daughter. You should have been able to tell me." We named her Lily. We planted a tree in our backyard in her memory. And slowly we started to heal. We decided to try again when we were ready. No timeline, no pressure. If you're going through pregnancy loss, please talk to your healthcare provider about what's right for your body and your mental health. And I found a new support group, one with better boundaries and a trauma-informed facilitator who actually vetted members. I told my story there, the real story, including Claire. One woman said, "That must have felt like a second violation." That was exactly what it felt like. But it also taught me something important. That grief can break us open in ways that make us vulnerable to people who want to exploit that vulnerability, even if they don't see it that way. And that protecting myself wasn't selfish. It was survival. I still think about Claire sometimes. I hope she got the help she needed. I hope she found peace with her losses. But I also know that her pain doesn't excuse what she did. She stalked me. She violated my privacy. She tried to make me believe lies about my baby's death so she could validate her own trauma. And even though I understand why, God, do I understand the desperation of wanting someone to blame, I can't forgive her for it. Maybe that makes me a bad person. Or maybe it just makes me human. 8 months after that last encounter, I got pregnant again. This time I told almost no one. I white-knuckled my way through every appointment, every ultrasound, waiting for something to go wrong. But nothing did. At 12 weeks, we heard the heartbeat, strong and steady. At 20 weeks, we found out we were having a boy. At 39 weeks, after 14 hours of labor, I gave birth to a healthy, screaming, perfect son. We named him Henry, after David's grandfather. And in the quiet moments when I hold him, when he's sleeping on my chest and the house is still, I think about the daughter I lost. I think about how she made me a mother first, even though I never got to bring her home. I think about how grief and joy can exist in the same breath, and how that's not a contradiction. It's just love. Recovery wasn't linear. There were hard days, therapy sessions where I sobbed, moments when I looked at Henry and felt guilty for being happy. But slowly, with help from a therapist and real, boundaried support, I learned to hold both truths: that I lost a child and that I have a child. That I'm allowed to mourn and I'm allowed to celebrate. That I'm allowed to be whole. If there's anything I want you to take from my story, it's this: your grief is yours, and no one has the right to weaponize it or invade it. Not a stranger with her own agenda. Not a system that prioritizes liability over compassion. Not even the voice in your head that says you should be over it by now. You get to protect yourself. You get to set boundaries. You get to heal on your own timeline. And if something feels wrong, if someone knows too much, asks too much, pushes too hard, trust that instinct. You've already survived the worst thing. Don't let anyone make you doubt your own reality. Have you ever had someone violate your trust during a vulnerable time? And how did you protect yourself afterward? I'd really love to hear your story in the comments.